today I am bringing you another review, and this one is on the foundation system from Rimmel, their Stay Matte system. I mentioned this in my last, which would have been February's favourites video, which I'll put up here. And basically it will involve two products, their foundation and their powder. And the reason why I'm doing this review for the both of them is they do complement each other very well, and I wouldn't be giving as glowing a report if I did each one by themselves as I am with the two of them. So to start with, I'll start with the foundation. I am making the assumption that before you put the foundation on, you put a primer on. I always have to because I'm oily. I understand obviously if you're dry skin probably don't, but when I wear my Stay Matte Rimmel foundation with a primer, I have no problems with it lasting all day. It's their Stay Matte foundation, up to 12 hours, natural shine control. And apparently it's got cucumber, cotton and chamomile in it, which to help with your skin condition. So you get 30 mils of it, or 1 fluid ounce, and I'm the shade 200, which is soft beige. For starters, I'm actually a huge fan of these sorts of packagings where it's a squeeze tube, because not only can you get pretty well every single drop of foundation out of here, but it's very clean. You don't end up with drips all down the side of, say, the glass bottles. So it's just a little squeeze tube, and mine's pretty full still, so I've been using this consistently for about it'll be a couple months now, and I still have used very little of it. So it's you only need a little bit, and a little bit goes a long way. But it blends in very, very well. I find that it isn't matte straight away. It takes a little bit of time before it settles onto your skin. So to start with, you will have a little bit of a dewy glow, but once it settles into the skin, it is definitely a matte foundation. And I have definitely found that it will control oil for a couple of hours. Now it says 12 hours, there's no way it does that for a person who's an oily skin, particularly if you live in a humid climate like I do. But in terms of its lasting power, it definitely stays on your face. It's not going to slide off, or at least I haven't found it does with me. They do have, I think it was 6 different shades, so you'll be able to find something which matches you fairly well. And most of them were on the neutral side, so it doesn't matter if you're cool-skinned or warm-skinned, there'll still be a shade which will match to you, if that makes sense. It says up to 12 hours, natural shine control for a fresh matte finish, with chamomile to help calm, cucumber to help clarify, and cotton to help control shine. It's talc-free, oil-free, paraben-free, and fragrance-free. In terms of its cost, in Australia foundations are really expensive, so this is really nice because it's under, I think it's $16 or $15, which for Australia is brilliant, and it is as good as, say, any of the Maybelline or Revlon foundations, which you pay upwards of about $35 in Australia. So it's comparative with quality, and it is so much cheaper, and I am just such a fan of this. I cannot believe that Rimmel has put out such a good foundation and it doesn't get more reviews. So I'm definitely a fan of this. I then pair it with their Stay Matte Long Lasting Pressed Powder, which is like this. I'll try not to blind you. It's just a basic pressed powder. You get 14 grams of it, or 0.49 ounces, and I'm in the shade 005 Silky Beige. Again, they have quite a few different shades here, so you will be able to find one that matches you. It says up to 5 hours natural shine control with natural minerals, helps minimize the appearance of pores, dermatologically tested. Again, when it says up to 5 hours shine control, if you're oily skinned and living in a humid climate, it's not going to do that. It controls it for a couple of hours, but then you do have to go back and do touch-ups. That being said, pretty well every single powder I've come across, you still need to do that. So it's no worse than any of the others. And again, its price tag is very reasonable, only about $14 I think, which again in Australia is just absolutely brilliant. As far as where you can get these, any pharmacies, so Priceline, etc. You can get these in Big W. Even I think in Woolworths they have a section, and most Woolworths will have a Rimmel stand. So you can get this pretty well anywhere. I do find that this goes on a little dry, so I'm not sure that if you've got a dry skin this would work all that well, but most people who are looking for a matte foundation or a matte powder have got oily skin anyway, so having a dry powder on their skin isn't going to worry them. You do need to use a slight hand with this, otherwise it can look a little cakey. So usually just 1 or 2 swirls of the brush and then put it all over my face is generally enough. Which means it is also, for the amount of products you get, will last you a long time. I've had this, like I said, for a couple months, and I haven't even started to really scratch the surface. Like, it's still pretty well flat. So methinks this is going to last me a very long time, which is good. Again, for the price, long lasting, hey, what's not to like about it? So these two products together, when I put them together, I have a foundation which lasts all day. Yes, I need to occasionally, if I've been outside in the humidity, etc., I will need to go back and blot off some of the excess oil, but I suppose that's just because if you're living in a hot climate, you're going to sweat and produce oil anyway. But when I'm in the office and it's air-conned, I find that I really don't need to. It stays pretty well perfect the entire day, which is brilliant as far as I'm concerned. The only thing I find I ever have to touch up is my blush, so I don't have to worry about bringing any concealers or foundations to work when I have these on. So yes, for a product that you can get in Australia that is relatively cheap compared to all other cosmetics, I find that if you've got oily skin, this system will work brilliantly for you. Make sure you do get your shades properly matched because, well, let's face it, no one likes looking mismatched on their skin and foundation, but I highly recommend it. Yes, that pretty well does my quick little review on the Rimmel Stay Matte foundation powder and liquid foundation. I would be interested to hear if anybody else has tried these and also had such a good experience, or maybe a not so good experience. If so, please leave me a comment below. I will get back to you. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you next time. See ya!